Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys my SBU Wi-Fi Season 1 draft analysis. Yes, another league. I kind of alluded to this in our RODL videos. If you haven't watched those so far, definitely go check them out. They've been great so far. The one that we've uploaded, I think. I might be 2 at this. No, it'll be 1 because RODL goes up on Monday. So regardless, so I talked about in my RODL draft analysis. I also have the SBU here coming up. Which is going to be a league run by myself, John Jr., and Grandmaster D-Ray. Just a kind of little fun side league that we're running in between the time of now and BDSP coming out, so that we have a little bit of content on the channel and on a lot of people's channels, because there's not a lot of leagues starting up right now due to like the end of the gem burnout. And due to the end of the gem burnout, as you can see with our first pick, which we'll talk about here in a second, we're actually kind of trying to switch things up, mix things up, and make it an S-tier league to, again, spice it up. A lot of people are feeling burnout, myself included, so using a cool, fun S-tier Pokemon without making it completely Ubers like BBL seemed like a fun idea. We haven't really had too many of those in Generation 8, so we thought it'd be fun. So yeah, definitely going to be a good time. Big shout outs to those guys, and big shout outs to Lucas, just Lucas. Check him out in the description below, as well as all the other coaches. Yesterday we ran a draft stream over here on this channel. We kind of went over everybody's team, a little bit more quickly, obviously. And that went great. He killed it. I appreciate him for hanging out with me and doing that with me and all that stuff. And yeah, today we're going to be going over my team a little bit more in depth. You can see my specific thought process for my team, where I can go over it a little bit more in depth, and you can see what we have. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I had like 6th or 7th pick in this draft, and again, I just want to try the coolest thing that was left on the board that looked to me, and I debated between a few things. One of them was Genesect, and I forget another one that I was really thinking about, but I ended up settling on Kyurem Black. This is Kyurem Black with Dragon Dance. Big beat down right here is going to be our S-tier pick. Obviously a phenomenal Pokemon before this gen, with just its great coverage, its ridiculous 170 attack stat, 120 special attack stat still, which is again obviously pretty darn insane, with phenomenal coverage and things like Earth Power and Fusion Bolt, and it can stay healthy with Roost, and it had obviously Ice Beam for stab and things like that. But this gen, it got pushed over the top. I went from being like a top tier threat in Draft League to literally you cannot allow this thing, and we'll kind of go over those really quick. First of which is going to be Heavy Duty Boots. Heavy Duty Boots allowing this thing to not take that 25% on switching is absolutely insane. A lot of time you don't need a boosting item with Kyurem because he's so goddamn strong regardless that you can afford to go Boots instead. It also got access to Freeze Dry, which is a really solid special ice stab, allowing us to hit water super effectively. Kyurem can already bully waters really easily with like sub-roost sets and things like that, but now it absolutely massacres them, which is really nice. It also got access to Scale Shot, which is a cool way of boosting its speed. It didn't have a way of boosting its speed. It got another really good way of boosting its speed. We'll wait until the end for that one. And then the last two, so I guess we'll get to that one here in a second. The last two being, one, it got Icicle Spear, giving Kyurem Black a physical ice stab that it can click turn after turn. Before, it was just Freeze Shock, and you can run Z Freeze Shock and things like that, but it wasn't reliable enough. Icicle Spear, while it is a little bit more of an iffy move, obviously hitting 2 to 5 times, it's 100% accurate. You don't have to charge it up, and you get to throw off big stab ice moves off that base 170 attack, which is astronomically huge. Really solid, and it would already be low-key probably too good for standard when you pair Icicle Spear with like Scale Shot and Hone Claws and Roost and a bunch of different options like that. But then they decided, no, it needs more. It needs Dragon Dance, and we have Dragon Dance Kyurem Black. Not only do we have that reliable stab on both sides, as well as Fusion Bolt to rip through waters and things like that. We can go special and mixed and bulky and things like that. Now we can boost our speed and our attack at the same time and absolutely rip through checks and counters. There's not much that switches into a +1 Kyurem, throwing off Icicle Spears, Dragon Claws or Outrages, and Fusion Bolts. There really isn't. And it sets up so freely on so many things. Like I said, its bulk is insane. 125 HP, 100 defense, and 90 speed def. This thing is incredibly fat, and it really rewards, proper building and proper EV, properly EVing your Pokemon, I suppose. I haven't gotten to use this thing since Gen 7, obviously, because it's been legit banned everywhere. But I'm definitely excited to use it this gen, and I think it'll do really well with the team we drafted. I think we drafted a really solid team around it. This season we're going to be doing Naruto nicknames, and I believe that this is going to be Madara, because he is that dude. He is just 100% that dude. Let's go ahead and jump into the next member, though. We end up grabbing Rillaboom round 2. Really solid Pokemon. Rips through waters, which Kyurem appreciates. Like I said, Kyurem can definitely beat waters, but if I'm physical DD, I don't want to switch it on Scalds. I don't want to deal with them. And I don't necessarily OHKO all of them with a Fusion Bolt. Rillaboom definitely does so. It throws off fat grassy glides and really breaks through teams. It has great coverage and high horsepower and Drain Punch. It can bulk up. It can Swords Dance as well. Like I said, it U-turns and it pivots and knocks off. Does a bunch of different things like that, and it provides really good residual recovery for our Kyurem. Like I said, really fat Pokemon. If I'm running boots, I'm not running leftovers or anything like that. It's really nice having that residual recovery to keep me healthy, so I find easier opportunities to potentially set up later in the game, or I can set up twice potentially on some more passive things and things like that. So I think Rillaboom is going to be really solid in that respect. They do both kind of bait in and have trouble with steel types, but you know, if they're wearing down each other's checks, one of them is going to have a better time in the end game, and we grab plenty of things to deal with fat steals later on. Honestly, this next round, we grab something that deals with fat steals really well, so I'm not super worried about that in that respect. I don't remember what I'm naming Rillaboom Naruto-wise. I think I'll just hold off on doing telling the nicknames, because I only remember the first 6 I'm bringing for week 1, I'll be honest. So yeah, that's going to be Rillaboom. Let's go and jump into the next member, which is going to be Heatran. Heatran is phenomenal, especially with something like Rillaboom, really weakening that ground weakness that it has, taking half damage from Earthquake and Terrain, making it to where it actually lives those hits, and something that absolutely rips through Fat Fairies and Fat Steel types, which Kyurem and Rillaboom love. Kyurem appreciates both those things being ripped through. Rillaboom really appreciates those fat steels being ripped through an absolute ton, so I'm definitely incredibly excited about that. And we have Rillaboom to break through fat waters and fat grasses, or fat grounds, sorry, not grasses. Heatran does that really well, actually. So they really do pair very nicely together. It gives us a rocker, it gives us our steel type. They can throw out big Specs and Scarf Eruptions, or we can Magma Storm, Taunt Trap, you know, some fatter annoying mons down and really bully them that way, which is, again, very exciting. It also got Body Press this gen. Like I said, it has access to Taunt, Magma Storm, Body Press, Earth Power, tons of different options, Flash Cannon. This Pokemon's incredibly versatile in the sense that it can be that terrifying offensive wall breaker, which you guys probably saw in our first NCP Summer Slam game, where we had Heatran, where we brought Life Orb 4 attacks and just clicked Overheat and Flamethrower and Nature Power, which is another option. We can run Nature Power Heatran on this team to really rip through bulky waters and things like that with Nature Power Grass, which is, I believe, Energy Ball. So really cool option there. Or we can run Fat Spadef, Taunt Heatran, and really just bully down checks. I think that it can beat us. We can beat a lot of water types 1v1 with just in conjunction with residual damage from Magma Storm, maybe a Toxic and Taunting and things like that. So I think Heatran's great. It's a Pokemon I've had a lot of success with in the past, and I'm hoping it does the same here, but I think it fits the team style really well. Round 4, we grabbed Scolipede. I really wanted spikes with this team. I needed a grounded poison, and it gave me a really solid speed tier, and I believe it's 112 is what Scolipede hits. So we grabbed Scully round 2. Last time I used Scully, I ended up winning a championship, so it's a 100% championship rate with Scolipede in Gen 8. Maybe we can keep that up this league, who knows? But I would definitely love to do so, obviously. But Scolipede's great, obviously. It's that Spiker, that T-Spiker. And also has access to, you know, moves like Swords Dance and in conjunction with Stabs, plus Earthquake if terrain's not up, but also Superpower and Aqua Tail and a bunch of different options like that. Or Stomping Tantrum, I believe it also gets, if we think terrain is going to be up throughout the whole game, which it won't be, which is why I'm not as worried about having terrain with Scolipede that wants to throw off big Earthquakes. Sometimes this Pokemon can be great. It can also be a very good anti-lead with, like I said, Spikes plus Endeavor, it getting Speed Boost, allowing it to really outspeed things and be a really good anti-lead and kind of picking something off turn 1 if we play it correctly, and there's an annoying ghost types and stuff like that in the back. So really solid Pokemon. I love Scolipede. It's one of the Pokemon I'm most comfortable with using, and I think it fits this playstyle and team really well, getting those spikes up for Kyurem and really ripping through teams offensively, which is great. Next up, we grab our second rocker in Swampert. So we're kind of filling out our hazards game, and we kind of roll compress and we get our water type and our ground type in one. Very excited to use Swampert alongside Rillaboom with that grassy terrain recovery. I know it boosts those grass moves coming at us. We're probably going to die to those anyways if we're not Rendo, and if we're Rendo, we'll chew them anyways. So regardless, I don't think that's that big of a deal, and getting that residual recovery on top of already having leftovers and maybe Protect and Toxic and things like that. This Pokemon, it doesn't have reliable recovery, but it almost seems like it has reliable recovery, if that makes sense. It's so annoying to take down. Pert also got access to Flip Turn this gen, which is great for momentum, grabbing us a little bit of momentum on top of, you know, the Rillaboom that we already have, which can be really solid with potential fat fires like Arcanine, the Arcanines of the world and things like that. We can U-turn out with our Rillaboom, get into our Swampert, Flip Turn on out, and kind of put teams in the vortex a little bit, especially if we can bait a knock earlier in the game on those fire types and get up rocks and chip them down without their boots. A bunch of different options like that, obviously. Very, very excited to use Swampert. I can go with even offensive Pert or cheesy bulk up sets and things like that. I can go, you know, Toxic Protect, Subtoxic Swampert. There's so many different options I can run with this thing. It's such a reliable rocker, very reliable ground type, very reliable water. And if I can find a little bit of wish support with this thing a little bit later on, which spoilers, we always find wish support in our king, which you'll see we do end up drafting again. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But I think we can keep Pert really, really healthy. Next up, here he is. Told you, it was going to be soon. I was going to make you guys wait for it. It's Licky. Of course I'm drafting Licky. Drafting him as soon as possible. I knew he was going to go in this next round to someone behind me. It just fit their team way too well, and it turns out I did snipe them, so next level Galaxy Brain. Nobody takes my Licky from me. I'm drafting him. My favorite bulky normal in the format. I like it so much because it's so fat and annoying, but it doesn't have that same passive issue that a lot of the fat, annoying, bulky normals like Audino have, in the sense that it can't be taunted, and that's a big thing for me. I don't like passivity. I don't like passive Pokemon that lose to the move Taunt, and Licky does not do that. We obviously are a great Wish Passer and Cleric. We can also roll with cool SD or Curse sets if teams don't have sufficient ways of breaking down Licky. It can kind of solo teams on its own, but the Cleric support and the Wish support is going to be the main thing that's really important. It also gives us a Ghost immunity. We lost to the move Shadow Ball up to this point, so not losing to the move Shadow Ball is really, really nice in a generation where Pursuit doesn't exist. So that's going to be Licky. Very self-explanatory. I'm sure this is like the 8th Wi-Fi league I've had this thing in this gen. I think it's so good. I absolutely love Licky, and I had to snag him early before he went somewhere else. Next up, I grabbed Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl is a little bit of a roll compressor for me. I'm not the biggest fan of Grimmsnarl, but I'm willing to give it another shot in this league here. It gives me a dark type, which is really important. Like I said, ghosts are scary. Psychic types are scary, so getting that dark type is really important. It gives me a fairy, so we complete the Dragon Fairy Steel Core, and it also gives me screens, which I'm usually not big fans of screens offense and, you know, screen shenanigans, because I feel like I'm playing 5v6 a lot of the time, and if that strategy doesn't work, I feel like I'm just really far on the back foot. But Kurt was recommending this to me, just Kurt, and he was like, man, I get that screens aren't the most reliable thing, but look at the setup we have. It really appreciates screens. Those top 3 members, man, Kyurem especially, Rillaboom and Skullbeat all love screens up, so they can set up Swords Dances or Dragon Dances or whatever setup move they may want to go for and just click buttons. And that's what Grimmsnarl is really going to help us do. Again, gives us that Ghost Shed, gives us that Fairy type and that Dark type. So definitely plenty of options that I could do. I could also Thunderwave things and obviously get up screens or taunt things or run with Rest Bulk Up sets itself and get that priority Sleep Talks off and things like that. So definitely a very solid Pokemon. I'm very excited to use Grimmsnarl here in this season, and I'm hoping it can kind of pleasantly surprise me as to the times I've been kind of underwhelmed by it before. Next up, Big Zapdos. I told you we need some things to break down fat steals, and this is going to be kind of our 3rd member that really does so super reliably outside of Heatran and Swampert, so it's going to be Zapdos, giving us more momentum, which is really nice. Great Scarfer, great with a band, great with a Life Orb. We could be bulk up sets, especially with our screens, like bulk up weakness, policy, agility sets could definitely put in some work alongside Thunderous Kick, which is a great way of like really breaking down and smashing fat. Like Life Orb Thunderous Kick sets with like, you know, solid coverage to hit opposing teams is really hard to pivot around for a lot of teams. Things like Clefable don't even appreciate taking like Thunderous Kick into a Bravebeard. If they've taken any chip at all before that Thunderous Kick, they're probably going to die, which means they at least have to pivot out on that Brave Bird and then try and come back in on a non-Thunderous Kick turn or a non-Brave Bird turn. It's really tough to pivot around this thing is what I'm kind of saying. It also offers us Defiant, so it gives us a defog to turn. If we want to spike stack with Scully, we can get up all those spikes and then potentially stop them from defogging or have them give us a free +2 and potentially sweep or absolutely rip through and claim a couple KOs, which is, again, really, really clutch. It's a Pokemon I really enjoy using, and I think it fits this team really, really well. A bit clumpy speed tier wise with Kyurem Black, but not the end of the world, because it's at least something at base 100, forcing those to run max speed, which is really cool. The more prep and the more speed creeping we force, the better, to be completely honest. So that's going to be Zapdos. Next up, I grabbed Mesprit. I wanted another rocker. Up to this point, we only had 2 of them. So getting a third was really, really nice. And it's a third rocker that actually doesn't compound many big weaknesses for me. And it actually really helps my team defensively in the sense that it gives me an offensive fighting check. I needed something for offensive fighting types. I didn't have much for it. It looks like my fighting resist up to this point was Scolipede. Not very good, obviously, as a fighting resist. So I wanted to grab Mesprit here. It gives me rocks, gives me U-turn momentum. It gives me trick for some trick shenanigans with, like, you know, scarves and specs and stuff like that. It also gives me Healing Wish, which is huge. My team loves Healing Wish. My Kyurem loves Healing Wish. My Rillaboom loves Healing Wish. Scolipede, Swampert, Grimmsnarl, Heatran, Zapdos, all Pokemon that are liable to get very chipped over a game. And if we don't have Licky, or potentially can't even reliably wish them up, then we have Mesprit to just get them back to full for free, which is awesome. Like I said, it has rocks. It also has Calm Mind and Nasty Plot, and really solid coverage overall. It's really just missing fire coverage that Azelf has, which is my Azelf is the GOAT. But Mesprit's still very, very good, and I'm very excited to use it. I think it fits the team really well, especially that Healing Wish aspect really drew me towards this Pokemon as my tier 4 Psychic. That plus rocks really, really help round out this team. And next up, in tier 5, I got Boltund. Not the best Pokemon in the world, but it hits an elite speed tier that I actually don't currently have. I don't really have anything 115 plus, and I think that's important to have, even if it's not a very good Pokemon in Boltund. Absolutely adorable, though. I'm a big dog person, and I think Boltund is absolutely adorable. I know some people don't like him because he just looks like a dog. Well, that's why he looks really good, and he's a really good design Pokemon because he's fucking cute, man. I love Boltund. Really dope mon. Not the worst thing in the world. Definitely has its niche uses and things like that. Has solid coverage with its Fang moves and things like that. Just not the strongest Pokemon in the world, and definitely not the bulkiest, but it fits that speed tier for us, and it's a good budget pick in tier 5 in my personal opinion. And then lastly, we got Drifblim. Another like semi-fighting check, as well as terrain abuser with our Rillaboom. Obviously getting access to Unburden, we can Grassy Seed, Calm Mind, Strength Sap, Air Slash, and Shadow Ball, a bunch of different options. It gives us a Spin Blocker, which is really clutch with Scolipede setting up spikes, and Swampert, and Heatran, and Mesprit setting up rocks, which is great. We can even not just be those cheesy like seed type sets. We can also just be like Fat Boots, Strength Sap, Will-O-Wisp, Hex type beat, so that we can really check offensive fightings a little bit better, which is again really, really clutch. I do think Drifblim is very solid in doing so. Kind of takes a little bit of pressure off of Mesprit, and really mitigates that pretty tough fighting weakness we have. We still kind of have some struggle with Pokemon like that, but you know, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Yeah, that is going to be the team. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your favorite Pokemon on our team is. If you think we built around Kyurem Black well, what you think is going to be the team's MVP, all that good stuff. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed the video, if you like the team. Be sure to sub so you can see our week 1 go live next week. We also have RODL going up on Monday, so stay tuned for that, as well as some Nuzlocke videos I have planned in the back as well, if you guys are enjoying that content, which I'm definitely enjoying making, by the way. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.